This is my video update on this Friday afternoon, January the 3rd, coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And how about Annalena 360 becoming the first EU foreign minister to travel to Syria and to meet with the Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, HTS, Al-Jolani government. She stepped off of the plane wearing a bulletproof vest. A bulletproof vest is what she was wearing as she stepped off of the plane. She is going to be meeting with the Syrian leadership, the Syrian government, if that's what you want to call them. HTS, Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, Al-Jolani government in Syria, where I imagine she is going to be pushing the leadership in Syria to remove the Russians, the Russian military base. She's going to be lobbying for that. And more importantly, I imagine she's going to be trying to get weapons from Syria to the Elensky regime, to Project Ukraine. No doubt about it. She is going to try and get many of the weapons left behind in Syria by the Syrian government, try and get those weapons to the Elensky regime. She's in the wrong city. She should not be traveling to Damascus. She should be going to Ankara to meet with Erdogan if she really wants to talk about Syria. Go to the source, go to the real leader of Syria, and that is Erdogan of Turkey, not Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, HTS, Jolani. She's spreading some of that green party energy to Al-Qaeda, Annalena Baerbock, in her bulletproof vest. So that's Annalena 360. And did you catch the video of the New Orleans terrorist truck driver's apartment in Texas? Did you catch that video? Did you see that video on X or Telegram? What a bizarre, crazy story this is. The New York Post sent their journalist, Jeannie Tair, New York Post, but she also contributes to other publications, Fox News as well. And somehow, some way, the FBI gave her permission to enter the New Orleans terrorist's apartment. Yeah, just like that. We're 2 days removed from this horrific terrorist attack in New Orleans, where CNN is reporting that this guy dedicated himself to IS, and he even published videos where he pledged allegiance to the Islamic State. And somehow this reporter was allowed entry into his flat, his apartment or house or whatever this is. Allegedly, this is his house and apartment. Yeah, she just walked right in there. Cameraman was inside of the home, ready to film her. She was dressed in her best yoga pants for this big exclusive. And yeah, she walked in and showed everyone the domicile of this terrorist. He had a book that happened to be open, a Quran, actually a Quran. The Quran opened to a passage about martyrdom. This is what her ex-post says. Jeannie Tair, exclusive tour of the NOLA terrorists' home, where we found a bomb-making station and a Quran open to a chilling passage about martyrdom. Just sitting there open in his home to a page, to a passage about martyrdom. How about that, huh? The apartment or the home didn't appear to be sealed off or the evidence, I don't know, taken away, studied. Just everything was just sitting right there in place. The bomb making station. He had a bookcase full of Qurans, which were bookmarked and tagged. Like he had tags and bookmarks in these Qurans just sitting on his bookcase. No real federal agent in a real probe would leave bookmarked pages of Islamic books in a so-called terror investigation untagged and unbagged. They were unbagged. Yet there they sit, unchecked. Can't be a real investigation. It's laughable. She walked past a table, many tables actually, but one table that this reporter walked past had credit cards and a set of car keys just sitting there on the table. Car keys, in case maybe she wanted to grab the car keys or the credit cards or the credit cards. I don't know. They're just sitting on the table. She's videotaping all of this and she's explaining all of this. She's giving a tour of this guy's home. So I guess it's normal for the FBI to leave a set of keys and credit cards now for anyone to pick up. The yoga pants are a nice touch, entirely appropriate attire and filming for such an important story. Why were you given this much access 2 days after the event? Why wasn't this sealed off and still a part of an active investigation? None of this passes the smell test. It seems like a total setup, and there needs to be more explanation of how the media was given this much access so quickly. The only thing that would make it better is if she found a Syrian prisoner in the back room. And unbelievable, and I really mean it when I say the word unbelievable, an unbelievable video from this reporter. And it's on the front page of the New York Post. An unbelievable exclusive. This all is just beyond very weird. They did not seal the house. There is no 24/7 law enforcement guarding this property. They left the home opened and all his belongings accessible. The house does not look raided. Wouldn't they have turned every cabinet and nook and cranny upside down? Is it just me? Yeah, how do you have access to this in this fashion? Why is this not sealed off? That's the question that everyone is asking. Why is this not sealed off? How did you get access to this crime scene? Why does this not look like a crime scene? It doesn't even look like a crime scene. An incredible video. I can't explain it. I don't know what's going on here, but something's not right. Something is definitely not right. So the Cybertruck terrorist, he was in photos on Facebook, I believe, released by his now ex-girlfriend or his ex-wife, that show him wearing a Slava Ukraina t-shirt. Yep. And according to the Associated Press, he served in Ukraine. He was special forces. This guy was special forces. And the Associated Press says that he served in Ukraine, but it's unclear as what did he serve? What was he in Ukraine? Was he a mercenary? Was he part of the U.S. military in Ukraine, an advisor, a consultant? They don't really get into any details as to what he was doing in Ukraine. There are also posts which claim that he was recruiting other people to go to Ukraine and serve in the Ukraine military. I don't know if these posts are legit. They look legit. But allegedly, he was trying to get other people to go to Ukraine and to serve for the Ukraine military and fight in the conflict. And then you have the Fort Bragg connection. The Cybertruck guy, who according to reports, self-deleted. That's the latest reports that we have, is that he self-deleted and the Cybertruck blew up outside of the Trump Tower in Vegas. But this guy was in Fort Bragg. The New Orleans terrorist was in Fort Bragg. And you know who else was connected to Fort Bragg? The guy that tried to assassinate Trump the second time, Ryan Ruth, visited Fort Bragg 147 times, staying overnight on 29 occasions. What is going on with Fort Bragg? What's the deal with Fort Bragg? Someone please explain. So that's the update on those two stories, those terrorist attacks in the United States. Zero Hedge has an article with the title, Vegas Police Say Very Strange Similarities Between Cybertruck Bombing and Bourbon Street Massacre. Yeah, very strange indeed. So Axios put out an article, a scoop. This is an Axios scoop with an article with the title, Biden discussed plans to strike Iran nuclear sites in Tehran if Tehran speeds towards bomb. So in this article from Axios, according to three sources that just happened to decide to talk to Axios, these three sources claim that Jake Sullivan and Bidenopoulos, they held meetings 1 month ago, not yesterday, not last week, a whole month ago, right about the same time that Syria was being regime changed. Interesting coincidence. What an interesting tree. What a beautiful tree. Interesting tree. Yeah, a month ago, they were having a meeting, Jake Sullivan and Bidenopoulos, discussing striking Iran's nuclear sites. And the reasoning that Sullivan was discussing this with Biden, according to Axios, according to the sources that spoke to Axios, was because Sullivan felt that Iran was at its weakest, and now is the time to hit Iran. And that's why he was speaking with Biden, though this meeting, according to Axios, was not a meeting which was meant to pressure Biden. If you believe that Biden was capable of making a decision, it was not meant to pressure Biden into taking a yes or no decision as far as attacking Iran. This was more of Sullivan providing the intel about Iran and how close they are to getting a nuclear bomb, and how it would be advantageous. It would be the right time to hit Iran because Sullivan felt that Iran was at its weakest, and the risk of Iranian retaliation was at its lowest. The one thing that was holding them back, a significant Iran retaliation, was at its lowest because it was so weakened. And all of this was happening a month ago, right as Syria was about to undergoing regime change. It was happening around that time. And the reason that Axios says the conversation did not result in a yes or no, or actually a yes, towards attacking Iran, was because it would have been very, very out of the ordinary for the Biden White House in its last couple of months in the White House to start a war with Iran. As it was exiting the White House, picking a fight with Iran would have been very, very controversial. Axios even says that Biden, being a lame duck president and taking the decision to attack Iran, well, that would have caused problems. But Axios also says that there was a sense of urgency as well, that you have a couple of months left in the White House, and now is the time, before you leave on January 20th, to go after Iran, to start a war with Iran, and then pass it off to the Trump administration. Another reason that I believe, speaking with Alexander about this story, we actually did a video on this story from Axios, which will be published tomorrow. But another reason, I believe a more plausible reason as to the urgency Sullivan felt to pitch this to Biden, if you believe that Biden is capable of making these types of decisions, is because of the trip from Iran to Moscow, where they are going to sign, the president of Iran is going to be in Moscow, and they're going to sign some sort of defense treaty or some sort of a defense pact in January 17th, 18th, 19th. So I imagine, my guess, Alexander's guess, is that they would like to hit Iran, or at least Sullivan would like to hit Iran before the trip to Moscow and before this alliance, this pact, this treaty is signed. And then, of course, you pass on to Trump a terrible problem. You pass on a war. You pass a war on to the Trump administration. But this would be unheard of for an outgoing administration with a couple of weeks left to take such an action and to start this big of a war and then pass it on to the next president. I doubt this is going to happen. I believe that there's just not enough time left for the Biden White House, for Sullivan to get this going, but who knows? We are talking about the Biden White House after all. So that was the reporting from Axios. Let me pull up the article here, because they talk about Biden's decision-making process. Keep in mind that just 2 weeks ago, the Wall Street Journal was talking about how Biden was and remains diminished. He's diminished, but 1 month ago, Biden and Sullivan were talking about starting a war with Iran, and Biden was going to be taking the ultimate decision on whether to start a war with Iran. What is going on? Someone is yelling. Jeez. Oh, boy. So Axios says, one source said Biden honed in on the question of urgency and whether Iran had taken steps that justify a dramatic military strike a few weeks before a president takes office. Do you guys actually believe that Biden has the capacity to hone in on anything? I don't think so. Interesting choice of words. Biden honed in on the one question, on the question of urgency. He honed in, Biden. Diminished Biden was honing in. So that's the story from Axios. And turning to Project Ukraine, Elensky gave an interview to Ukraine media the other day, and the Green Goblin admitted that Ukraine troops are deserting. He admitted this. Ukraine has a problem on the front lines. Many troops are deserting. The Associated Press, they claim 100,000 troops deserted the Ukraine military, but I have read reports which claims that number is 3-4 times higher than 100,000. I don't know if these reports are believable, but that is what various reports claim. The Associated Press puts it at 100,000. Elensky, during this interview, said that the Ukraine military is losing soldiers. They're deserting, they're leaving. And the problem that the Ukraine military has, according to Elensky, is that they do not have enough reserves. I think you know where I'm going with this. I think you know where this story is going and why he gave this interview, why Elensky gave this, what I believe was a very scripted and controlled interview. Elensky claims that the Ukraine military does not have reserves. The troops on the front line are tired, he said. They're exhausted, they're demoralized, and they need to be rotated out. But there are no reserves. to relieve those troops on the front lines. So where is this going? Elensky is preparing the Ukrainian public for the announcement of mobilization of 18-year-olds. That was the purpose of this interview. And actually, Russian intel, the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, they claimed today that they have intel which says that the decision to mobilize 18-year-olds and up and send them to the front lines with very little training has already been made. It's already been made, it's already been approved, and it's just a matter of breaking it to the Ukrainian public that this is what's going to happen. Elensky also said in this interview that the Ukraine military will stabilize the front line in January, this month. By this month, maybe a little bit next month, but by this month, he says, the frontline situation in Donbass, which is critical. He said it's critical. He said it's difficult. But it will be stabilized, and the Russian advances will stop this month. That is what Elensky claims. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But anyway, those were the claims from Elensky. In South Korea, they tried to arrest President Yoon, the South Korean police, but they failed because military units blocked the police from executing the arrest warrant. Officers from South Korea's Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials attempted to execute an arrest warrant for impeached President Yoon early Friday, but were blocked by military personnel serving under the Presidential Security Service, according to Yonhap news agency. So that's what happened in South Korea. That's the update in South Korea. They can't arrest President Yoon for calling martial law and then getting impeached. The security services, they're protecting this guy. The military and the security services are protecting this guy, the impeached president. So let's do a clown world. Yeah, let's do a clown world, and we can wrap this video up. And Bidenopolis, he honored Liz Cheney with a Presidential Citizens Medal. Biden honors Liz Cheney and 19 others with Presidential Citizens Medal. Liz Cheney gets a medal, a medal for supporting Harris, for being anti-Trump. She gets a medal for being anti-Trump. That is what she gets a medal for, Liz Cheney. And we go back to Ukraine, to the interview that Elensky gave to the Ukraine media. And Elensky said that the Kursk incursion had big impact on global South countries. Ukraine's incursion in Russia's Kursk Oblast is a very strong trump card in any negotiations, Elensky said in an interview on Ukrainian television released on January the 2nd, especially with countries that are very important for us, the countries of the global South, Elensky said. I never thought it would have such a big impact on them because they were so influenced by the idea of invincible Russia. I guess Elensky's trying to say that the countries of the global South thought that Russia was invincible and the Kursk incursion proved otherwise? Is that what Elensky is trying to say? And the countries of the global South are super important to Ukraine? I'm not sure what Elensky's trying to say, to be quite honest. He's losing it. With each passing day, he is absolutely losing it. So, yeah, that's what Elensky said. The countries of the global South They thought Russia was invincible. Podolyak, countries of a global south, those are countries that are down below us, Podolyak. These countries of global south, they think Russia invincible. But my Kursk operation prove that Russia not invincible. Podolyak. That's the video, everybody. Oh boy, thank God it's Friday. The Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch like what I'm wearing in this video update today. The links are in the description box down below. Take care.